We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hello and welcome. I am your host, Kimberly Lovey. I am a wife, a mother of two. I'm a businesswoman, a brand builder, blogger, and podcaster. I'm here to connect with women just like me who want to optimize their life while looking and feeling our best. Together, we will remove limiting beliefs and dream to become our highest and best version of ourselves. We will explore both mental and physical aspects of self-improvement while forming a community, a sisterhood. Before we dive in, please subscribe to my podcast and give me 5 stars. I am so excited to be here with you guys today, as per usual, because I feel like we're really getting to be fast friends. And today I'm going to get extra intimate, I'll say, with you guys, because I'm going to actually share how we got pregnant the first 2 times, and I'm going to share our overall fertility journey because it has been a journey. Talk about getting up close and personal. It's definitely making me anxious to share this, but at the same time, I'm trying to help other people. So I'm going to just go deep and expose it all. So with that, I think where it makes the most sense to leave off is after we got married, exactly after we got married. Maybe even a little bit of a precursor. So if you guys have not heard about Weddings and Night Nurses episode, then I suggest that you go and listen to that one. And this one kind of maybe bridges the gap between weddings and night nurses. So, okay. Before I get started, I want to say that fertility is not an easy discussion to have because nobody wants to feel different or incapable. And this goes for both men and women, particularly when it comes to having a child. And I have the utmost sensitivity for others and compassion for others as we kind of breach this subject. It also requires a lot of time and money and effort to uncover if there's some kind of fertility issue. And I don't feel like there's a good how-to as far as how to tackle if you think you're having an issue. So for now, I'm going to share my journey with you and perhaps you can learn something from it. Okay, so Brian and I got married in May of 2015. I was 30 years old, almost 31. He is 5 years older than me. So he was 36 or almost 36. So we had openly discussed, while we were engaged, we had openly discussed, having children. And we both had agreed that kind of mostly due to our age, but also because of the runway of our relationship, we had already been together for 3.5 years when we got married. So we didn't feel like we needed to have any more alone time and that we kind of were just feeling like we're up against the clock. And so we both totally agreed that, yes, as soon as we get married, we want to start trying. And we had discussed that a couple times openly. And so that was probably step 1, I would say, as far as like pregnancy for us. Once we had agreed to that, I consulted with my sister, who is a doctor, and she recommended that we go off of birth control 3 months prior to starting to try. I think primarily to give your body time to get rid of those birth control hormones, help your body find its regular natural cycle, particularly if you've been on birth control for an extended period of time. And just kind of give your body a chance to kind of find its own way totally on its own. And so I listened and I did that, and I stopped my birth control in February leading up to our wedding, which is exactly 3 months. And I was tracking my cycle on one of the apps, which I highly recommend for anyone that is trying to get pregnant. It's very, very helpful, adds a lot more clarity, takes out the confusion and the legwork. And so leading up to our wedding, I saw that I was supposed to have my period on our wedding, which is not great news, as you can imagine, for a bride with white dresses in her wardrobe coming. So as it turns out, God was with us, I think. And it turned out that my period actually came a few days early and I lucked out. And that was a big surprise because I typically had a regular cycle. So sorry for the overshare, but it's relevant. I guess this whole thing is a bit of an overshare, but here we are. Okay, so anyway, so we had planned to go on our honeymoon right after our wedding, like a couple days afterwards. And so we went on our honeymoon. We went to Tahiti. It was incredible. We went for 2 weeks. And so I was in my fertile window on our honeymoon. Now, hot tip for any of you ladies out there. I did not announce this to him. We had both already clearly agreed to wanting to have kids and trying right away. And I didn't want to add pressure and I didn't want to ruin the romance. And I think that's a really good tip. And I actually got that tip from a family or from a couples friend of ours that told us about having the most unromantic sex when they were trying to have children. And so I basically listened to the guy that really didn't enjoy the whole experience. I mean, I'm sure he did, but anyway, you guys get the idea. Okay, so cut to, I know I'm ovulating basically, and we're on our honeymoon, and we go to Moorea. We go to a small little island called Lataha, and apparently, I don't know, celebrities go there to hide out. It's like because it's not a well-known island, whatever, who cares? But anyway, it's like, if you haven't heard of it, that's expected, I would say. And we went to Bora Bora. We even went scuba diving, which is a huge no-no, by the way, if you are pregnant. But anyway, so we arrive home and, I was exhausted and didn't think much about it. And you guys can probably see where this is going. So basically, we had the best time, came home, I was exhausted, and then I don't know, maybe a week or two later, I don't know exactly when, but I realized I had missed a period towards the end of June, maybe the third week, and was actually a day late. But I didn't read too much into it since my periods seem to be a bit irregular lately, probably from going off of birth control, ? I don't know. So anyway, Brian was at work. It was like evening time, and I decided to go get a pregnancy test, which I had never done before. I literally felt like I was committing a crime. Like I felt like I should be wearing dark glasses and like a hoodie or something because I was just up to no good, And then of course, when I actually bought it, I was like embarrassed, which I think is a natural reaction. So anyway, I go home, I take the test, and sure enough, it's a double line. I freaked, like I was in total shock. I took 2 more tests and sure enough, it was positive. So, then I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I think I called my mom actually first, but I'll get back to her reaction in a second. But anyway, so I ran back to the store because I'm thinking, how am I going to break this to him? How am I going to tell Brian this? And I want it to be like special, So we were a couple days away from Father's Day. And so I ran back to the store and got a happy Father's Day card and wrote to him, to a future father. And then I stuck the pregnancy test into the card. And so when he got home that night, first of all, I was physically shaking, like so nervous. I don't know why. I think I really was so caught off guard, which sounds stupid, but like, hey, I've never been pregnant before, And like, I've never tried to be pregnant before, any of it. This is all like really new. And I thought that it might take longer. So anyway, so I give him the card and I told him, I said, oh, hey babe, looks like we got one more wedding present that just arrived. Why don't you open it? And he opens it, and he was just like confused and stunned. Like, he put it together. I have it on video. And he looks at me and he says, "Congrats." And he pats me on the back and he walks away. And we did not speak. I kid you not, you guys. We did not speak for 2 hours, and we were in totally different rooms in our condo. So I look back and I'm just like laughing. Like, he didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to react. Like, we were just like in shock, and it was just the most bizarre thing to digest. And neither one of us knew what to do. And like, looking back, I mean, how bizarre is it that he's just like pats me on the back, "Congrats," and walks away? Like, oh my God. Not exactly like the loving, response that you would think. But I definitely don't fault him because I was equally as shocked. So it was fine. It's just more funny at this point. Okay. So then the next day, we both told our mothers. Now, I really can't remember. This is so bad. I need to ask my mom now. I don't remember if I told my mom right away, like the day before. But anyway, I just remember that we are both, let me just add, some of you might be thinking, "Wow, you told your parents right away. That's kind of crazy." You have to understand, Brian and I are best friends with our moms. And like, I'm best friends with his mom also. Like, she's like my second mother. So like, we're all super, super, super tight. And so like, we needed our moms. We didn't know what to do. Sounds ridiculous. We didn't know what to do. And so I remember when I told my mom, I can't believe this reaction. My mom goes, "I knew you were pregnant. You've been exhausted since you got back from your honeymoon. You have bags under your eyes. You should be feeling rested after a 2-week vacation." And I'm like, even with such long travel, she's like, "Yes, I've known this." And I'm like, man, moms are just so smart. I couldn't believe she already knew and didn't even tell me. Just like hilarious, So anyway, so basically, yeah, I mean, I had a wonderful pregnancy. That's how we got pregnant with Carter David Lovey, who is my little hunk. He is now 4 years old because it is June, almost exactly 4 years since I got pregnant, to the day, actually, oddly. And yeah, so he thankfully he's just a little dreamboat. And I thank God for him every single day. And so that's kind of the story with Carter. And so what happened was we went through this whole, journey of having a newborn. I talked to you guys about it. We had hired a night nurse and didn't have a nanny for the first 9 months. And then basically, as soon as I was done breastfeeding is when we wanted to start trying again because, I just kept hearing, like, I don't know why I had this like very like heavy awareness for some reason. But I was 32 at this point and 7.5 months postpartum and had gotten one period and had just stopped nursing Carter. And Brian and I we wanted to start trying again right away because him and I were like, it could take up to a year plus. I mean, who knows? Like, everyone we know seems to have some kind of fertility issue, like whether it's a miscarriage or just trouble conceiving for, some reason or another. Every single person, it felt like, that we knew had some kind of issue. And so we were not trying to wait much longer. And so we went for it. And sure enough, the second time around, first time again, pregnant. Unbelievable. Unreal. And we had just, since then we had joked, like we would always joke like, "Oh, Brian," every time Brian looked at me, I would get pregnant. And I felt so proud and so relieved that we were so blessed. And I also felt extremely grateful. I was completely aware that this could have panned out differently. And, part of me always wondered like exactly what it was like for all of my friends that had gone through these issues. And it hurt my heart for them. And I just was so filled with gratitude. And, I'll just say on that point, I think because I was so aware and connected to so many women and families that were struggling with fertility, when I was pregnant, I was very, very conscious to never complain. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm like on a high horse and I'm like so perfect or anything, but in real terms, I was really, really grateful. And complaining about being nauseous or having round ligament pain or being completely exhausted just felt bad for me. It felt ungrateful. It felt like anytime I kind of like started to go in that direction of like, oh my God, I'm so nauseous today or something, I would just think of, holy crap, the fact that I get to have this experience and the fact that the baby's commanding enough hormones and growing is incredible. And so many people can't even get to this point. Like, I am so grateful. Like, thank you. Thank you for letting me be nauseous. Thank you. And I genuinely like felt it. And I'm proud, that I felt that way because listen, I know there's many women out there that have terrible pregnancies and I'm not judging that either, but I mean, mine wasn't that bad. I had some really great pregnancies. And anyway, the point is I enjoyed it. And for folks that didn't enjoy their pregnancy for whatever their reasons are, like that's valid too. I'm not judging any single person out there. It's just I'm sharing my journey and my experience. And, perhaps if there's someone out there that finds themselves in a situation where they're kind of nauseous, pretty tired, like maybe that's something you can think about to kind of like boost your mood. Because I do think that gratitude is what made my pregnancy so beautiful. And so, so after that, I had Charlotte on July 2nd, 2017. We had bought a house and revamped it. So I was working a lot, but from home prior to that, or sorry, not from home, but locally. And so anyway, after Charlotte was born, I went back on the road 3 months postpartum, and I was traveling every single week across the country for 9 months. I was still pumping, and she was getting all the breast milk and all of that. And, it was a big effort and a lot of work. But, I was doing it and I was loving it. So here's kind of like the part 2. So this is where things take a turn. Okay. So then in 2018, we started to think about having more kids because, ideally we wanted our kids to be closer in age. And again, Brian and I are not getting any younger and you never know. So I had actually gotten pregnant and miscarried at 6 weeks. And, I was bummed, but I accepted it and, didn't make it a big drama, but it was so exciting to feel that feeling of your breasts are sore and you're nauseous and, your smell gets all like, you get like really sensitive as far as like your taste buds and smelling things that, coffee makes you sick, creamer makes you sick. And it was just kind of like, oh my God, I knew I was pregnant and I was, and then sure enough, miscarried. So, anyway, about 6 months later, we had kept trying and I just had a sixth sense that there was something wrong and we didn't want to waste any more time. I didn't want to wait just in case. And I think that's where things get a little tricky is like, at what point is it right to start investigating if there's a fertility issue? And I feel like it was pretty quick. Like for us, we kind of acted really fast just because I had this gut feeling like something's not right. Why is it taking us so long to get pregnant again? This just doesn't feel right to me. And so we went to my friend's fertility doctor and we went through a whole series of, not only long discussions about, just really educating ourselves on fertility in a way that I never had to. And then, going through an ultrasound to form a baseline, and then going through blood tests. And, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of money. And we did it. And again, I'm so grateful that we even have an opportunity to have these discussions with these doctors. I mean, how incredible, what an opportunity, Okay. So we go through all the tests and it turns out that sure enough, my egg supply was 1/3 of the normal range of women my age. And I was 34 years old. So I had essentially, said differently, I had 70% less eggs than women my age. Okay. How shocking is that? Here I am like thinking I'm fertile Myrtle and like so grateful and happy and just kind of like thinking, oh, I'm just going to be extra safe just to make sure. And I mean, to find that out is a blow. I mean, it's a shocker. Again, complete shock. And, it's shocking because I had been pregnant just like a year before that. And, I always thought like fertility was like a slow decline. And I thought maybe 35 would be more of a decline point. And I was like still like a solid 34 years old. So really, really shocked and confused. I think one thing I learned from that since is that apparently fertility is not a slow decline. It's like, say, if you can imagine a flat line, it doesn't just like kind of start to slowly, gradually dip. It basically is like a flat line and then it drops. And I mean, I just had no idea it was like that. Like I knew that timing mattered for women, but like I didn't think it was like literally within 6 months to a year of just having a baby, like all of a sudden my fertility is just going to literally like drop. I mean, and I share that with you because had I really understood that fully, I would have probably considered, dare I say, freezing my eggs. I mean, I don't know. I'm just sharing that with you guys because if you want children and you're in your 20s or your 30s, I mean, it is expensive and it's not an easy thing to freeze your eggs. It's basically doing IVF, like without the actual insemination part, where you're like going through the rounds of all the treatment and everything like that to like stimulate your eggs to grow, and then they retrieve the eggs. So like the first half of IVF is essentially the same thing as like freezing your eggs, allegedly. And from what I understand, I'm not a doctor. I'm just breaking it down as far as my understanding. So, you guys can research it. I just think that that's like really important to share with people because I just had no clue. So anyway, so here we are. So I was sort of like stunned, and we promptly tried taking Clomid, and that's basically like, okay, you take it twice a day for 5 days, like on the third or fourth day of your cycle, the start of your cycle, or of your period. So we did that and then tried to get pregnant naturally. And what the Clomid does is it like kind of encourages your egg follicles to grow. And so the hope is that you would have like one dominant follicle that would grow fully and mature. And so it kind of like, it's like extra fertilizer essentially. And so, yeah, so basically we tried that, did not get pregnant naturally, tried like probably 2 or 3 times. This is every month. And by the way, the Clomid, like, I have friends that got pregnant the first time after they tried it. But for me, I will say, number one, I was totally shocked that I did not get pregnant from taking that. Because, you hear fertility drugs and you're like, oh my God, no way. Like you would totally get pregnant immediately. And it didn't work for us. And so that was like really kind of interesting. And then also the way it made me feel was like very bloated. It kind of made me look like I was a couple months pregnant and like fat. And it also made me a little bit like feistier, I'll say. And it wasn't the worst thing in the world or anything, but it was like, I don't know, it was an experience, it was fine, but there were some side effects. Okay, so then I was like, you know what? Let's try the IUI with the Clomid. So that is in utero insemination, IUI. And basically what it is again, you take your fertility drugs, and so you go through that. And then once you're ovulating, like you actually should be testing to see when you're going to ovulate and share it with your doctor. And keep in mind, there are multiple visits to the doctor in between all of this. So it's definitely time intensive, and it is expensive to do this stuff. And so here we were, committed to the vision, and we go in. And so I do the Clomid, go in for the visit. Everything's looking good. Then Brian has to go in, provide a sample, which God bless these men. Thank God for these like supportive men that just love us so much, because, nobody wants to be doing this. Let's be honest. I mean, myself included, we're all kind of sacrificing, but it's definitely a commitment, and, it's also humbling and gives you a lot of humility. So 2 hours after he provides the sample, they spin the sperm, and then it's supposed to provide you with the best quality. Again, I'm not a doctor, so please don't take every single thing I say totally literally, but this is just my understanding. So check it out for your own, please. And then, so 2 hours after that whole process goes down, then they basically take the sperm sample and they turkey baste it up, and it does not hurt. It's like another OB visit. I mean, it's not the most fun. None of this is the most fun, but you got to do what you got to do. And then it's over in 5 minutes, and they don't need to numb you, or it's not a big procedure. It's really quite easy. And it's also significantly less expensive than IVF. So that's why, if you're not familiar with the IUI process, that's usually kind of your next step, before you would even entertain IVF, because it's so much less invasive. It's so much less everything. It's way less money, a fraction of the cost. So yeah, I was just very, this whole time I was very cool and confident and calm, because I was just oh, I know it's going to work for us. Totally positive, a little bit skeptical, but mostly confident. And I also was thinking the power of positive thinking and all of this stuff. So sure enough, does not work. We tried another fertility drug next, didn't work. Tried to do another IUI, didn't work. So finally, we decided to take a break. Took a break. Okay, then it's 2020. So still no progress. And we said, okay, let's get a second opinion, maybe just another set of eyes. Let's just go for it. So we go. And we had previously kind of started to understand IVF and the options around that. But then when we realized the cost, we wanted a second opinion also. So that was the other part, kind of a second quote. And so in talking to the second doctor, by the way, our first doctor, we absolutely loved, no slight on him. It's just these are major decisions, and we wanted to be thorough in our investigation. That's all. And so the second doctor basically, confirmed that I have very low egg supply and that IVF would work for me. And for some reason, I was just starting to worry about the risk of cancer, because all of these drugs, and my mom had mentioned something to me about it. And I thought I had asked the doctors, and they didn't really give me much response about it. But anyway, my sister, who is a cancer doctor, she's an oncologist, I asked her about it. And she said, the risk of increasing your cancer really isn't just straightforward. It's not a one size fits all risk profile. It really depends on your overall family history. And based on our family history with our grandmother, unfortunately dying of ovarian cancer, she said it could increase our risk of up to 40% to get breast cancer. And after that, I was just stunned and did not want to believe that, and kind of did some research, and it's true. Not for every woman. This is, again, it's for because she's my sister and she knows my risk profile based on our family history. It's kind of a high risk for us. So with that, I basically put away the IVF option and said, no, I need to be here for my family, and I'm not going to take the chance or roll the dice. So that's where we are with our fertility journey. I want to also make it very clear that I am in no way, shape, or form feeling bad for myself. I am so grateful that I have my boy and my girl. I have my 2 children that are just literally sent from heaven. Yes, they drive me nuts, but they are fully healthy. And I don't feel bad for us at all. And I don't expect anyone else to feel bad for us. I feel bad for the families that have been trying for literally years, have tried IVF for 13 rounds and have given up all of their money. I mean, there's a lot of really difficult stories out there. And I want those of you that are great or are lucky enough to have had kids to just please be filled with gratitude and be sensitive to the women that have been and families that have been fighting for their child, and for the women that just for whatever reason, they have pre-existing conditions that preclude them from having children. Like, please, let's be grateful. Let's be sensitive. And, I have to say, I'm so, so grateful. And I mean this genuinely. And I've said this, I'm so grateful that I've gotten to walk this walk with like understanding infertility, because I previously couldn't understand it and I wanted to. And I just feel like it makes me be able to empathize with so many more people. And I'm just so grateful for that. Like, I know it sounds cheesy, but I'm being 100% real. I feel like I can connect with more people and just be more empathetic towards them. And I think that's what life is really about. So that's where we're at. I don't know if we're going to keep trying or not. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of close to just wrapping it up and saying we're done, but I don't know. So stay tuned. With that, please subscribe to Diamonds and Coconuts podcast. Please follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Please leave me comments. Continue to give me feedback. I so appreciate you guys. I am feeling so filled with joy and energy listening to your thoughts and your feedback. And I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to connect with you. And thank you for letting me into your homes and your life. And I love you guys. And stay happy and stay full of love and stay grateful.